Hello brothers and welcome to Sigma Old Man channel. If you have to go broke to look rich, you're not wealthy, you're in costume. In a world where everyone's busy maxing out their future just to rent an image today, Sigma males are walking contradictions, calm, calculated, and absolutely allergic to financial showboating. They don't live above their means, not because they can't, but because they won't. And here's the kicker. A 2023 study revealed that nearly 60% of high-income earners in the US live paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, that's right. Six-figure earners with $5 habits and a desperate need for strangers to be impressed. Meanwhile, Sigma males are out here driving 10-year-old cars, wearing plain black t-shirts, and sitting on bank balances that could quietly buy your dream life. Why? Because unlike the rest of the herd, they know that peace of mind isn't sold at the mall. This isn't frugality, it's not minimalism, it's strategy. And today you're about to find out exactly why Sigma males don't live above their means, and why living below it might just be the biggest flex of all. So buckle up. We're not selling fantasy here. We're exposing the quiet brilliance of those who refuse to perform for the crowd, because they're too busy building empires in silence. Number one, they don't chase clout, they chase control. Most people burn through their money trying to look powerful. Sigma males spend theirs staying in control. There's a massive difference, and it's the reason they never fall into the trap of living above their means. While everyone else is busy flashing designer brands, luxury vacations, and shiny cars to keep up with some imaginary social scoreboard, the Sigma male is somewhere behind the scenes, calculating. He's not interested in being the loudest guy in the room. He wants to be the one who moves in silence, untouched by approval, unbothered by hype. Control is the currency he cares about. Not the kind that comes from being flashy, but the kind that gives him the power to disappear if he wants to. The freedom to say no when everyone else is stuck saying yes to paychecks they hate, debt they regret, and social circles they secretly despise. He doesn't need to prove he's winning, he knows he is. And he doesn't need the world to clap for him. In fact, he'd rather they keep sleeping on him. That's leverage, that's control. He sees through the game, the one where people spend money they don't have to impress people they don't even respect. That game is rigged, and he's not playing it. He doesn't need validation from strangers or online followers to feel important. His power isn't for show, it's for strategy. He'd rather own a simple life with absolute freedom than rent a fake one just to keep up appearances. And when you understand that level of self-control, you start to see why Sigma males are so dangerous. Not in a loud, aggressive way, but in a quiet, untouchable way. They're not fueled by ego, they're fueled by autonomy. They don't need to fake power with overpriced distractions. They are the power, silent, strategic, and always 5 steps ahead. While the world plays dress up, they're building real dominance, piece by piece, choice by choice. Living below their means isn't a sacrifice for them. It's a power move, a silent middle finger to the system, and they're smiling while doing it because they know what most don't. If you have to scream success, you probably don't have it. Number 2, their ego isn't on a lease plan. Sigma males walk through the world with a kind of confidence that doesn't scream. It stares. They don't need a rented Lamborghini or some overpriced watch to feel important, because their sense of self was never built in the showroom. While most people are out here financing their self-worth with car loans and credit card debt, Sigmas are cool with showing up in a plain hoodie, quietly stacking assets while everyone else is busy stacking illusions. Their ego isn't for sale, and it damn sure isn't on a lease plan. They don't care if no one turns their head when they walk into a room. That's silence, it's peace. They don't need applause to validate their existence. They've done the inner work, the kind of gritty self-honesty most people run from. So they're not out chasing reactions or likes. They're not addicted to external praise because they've already clapped for themselves in private long before anyone else noticed. Here's the thing, people use luxury as a mask, a distraction from their inner emptiness, and Sigma males know it. That's why they find performative wealth cringeworthy. It's not that they hate nice things. They just don't need those things to feel complete. Their worth doesn't skyrocket because they bought a designer belt. And it doesn't shrink when they wear the same outfit 3 times in a row. Their sense of self isn't fragile like that. Sigma males understand something most people never learn. If your identity needs constant funding, it's not an identity, it's a performance. And performances always come with pressure, anxiety, and the looming fear that one day the mask will slip. That's not a life, that's a stage play. And Sigmas didn't come to entertain. Their ego is low maintenance, high security. They know who they are without needing to prove it with a receipt. While others go broke trying to convince the world they're somebody, Sigmas are quietly becoming everything. And they don't owe anyone a show. Number 3, they treat lifestyle inflation like a disease. For most people, a raise is a green light to start spending like their bank account just turned into a bottomless pit. New paycheck? Time to buy a shinier car, move into a more expensive apartment, dine in overpriced places, and flex on people who couldn't care less. It's a cycle, and it's dangerous. Sigma males don't play that game. They treat lifestyle inflation like it's a disease, because in their mind it is. It infects your judgment, ruins your discipline, and slowly kills your freedom. To the Sigma, more money doesn't equal more spending, it equals more strategy. When his income increases, his lifestyle doesn't follow suit. His investments grow, his privacy grows, his control over his own life sharpens. While others are busy rewarding themselves with liabilities, he's stacking escape routes. He's not thinking about how to show off his success. He's thinking about how to exit the matrix with as little noise as possible. That's why Sigmas seem so unfazed by wealth. To them, the ultimate luxury isn't a private jet. It's not needing to explain yourself, not needing to beg for time off, not being trapped by a bloated lifestyle that requires constant performance. Most people inflate their lives until they need every single cent of their income just to keep the lights on. Sigmas? They stay lean, quiet, and dangerous. They upgrade their mindset, not their image. You won't catch a Sigma blowing thousands just because his salary jumped. He doesn't need to tell the world he's winning. He's too focused on building systems that will keep him winning even if everything collapses. That's the difference. Lifestyle inflation is the dopamine trap for the average person. For the Sigma, it's a red flag, a sign that comfort is creeping in and trying to make him soft. So instead of expanding his wardrobe, he tightens his discipline. Instead of adding expenses, he subtracts noise. The result? He builds a life that doesn't crumble the moment the economy stutters or the checks slow down. That's not stinginess, that's high-level strategy. When everyone else is upgrading liabilities, the Sigma is upgrading his leverage. Number 4, they've seen rich people live like slaves. Sigma males have looked behind the curtain and seen the ugly truth no one talks about. A shocking number of rich people are actually just high-income prisoners. Sure, they've got the mansion, the luxury car, the private school tuition, and the Instagram-perfect life. But behind the scenes, it's a constant grind to keep the illusion alive. Massive debt, soul-draining jobs, sleepless nights filled with anxiety over bills and appearances. It's a high-stakes performance, and Sigma males want no part in it. They know that having money isn't the same as being free. In fact, a lot of these so-called wealthy people are more trapped than anyone, trapped in image, trapped in debt, trapped in circles of people they secretly can't stand but have to maintain because their lifestyle demands it. Sigma males are repulsed by that kind of slavery. To them, it's not wealth, it's a gilded cage. So instead of chasing the external markers of success, Sigmas chase control. They'd rather drive a reliable used car and sleep peacefully at night than lease a flashy one that keeps them anxious every month. They don't want the stress of juggling 10 different credit lines to sustain a life that looks impressive from the outside but feels hollow on the inside. That's not success. That's a slow death in designer packaging. They've watched people who made it become addicted to maintaining the image. No amount of money ever feels enough because the lifestyle keeps expanding and expectations keep rising. The house gets bigger, the bills get scarier, and before they know it, they've built a life that owns them. Sigma males step back, observe this madness, and make a different choice. They choose ownership over optics, simplicity over show, peace over pressure. They're not here to prove anything to the world. They're here to live on their own terms, even if it looks modest to outsiders. Because they know something most don't. The real flex isn't living large, it's living free. And you can't buy that with borrowed money and fake smiles. Number 5. They're addicted to options, not obligations. Sigma males live for options, not in a flaky, indecisive way, but in a calculated, lethal way. They design their life so they can pivot, disappear, reinvent, or walk away at any given moment. without asking for permission or scrambling for survival. That kind of flexibility doesn't come from living large, it comes from staying light. That's why they're allergic to obligation-heavy lifestyles that chain them to endless bills, responsibilities, and fake social expectations. Most people build a life they can barely afford to keep. Bigger house, flashier car, expensive circle of friends. They grind non-stop just to fund the image. And once they're in, they're stuck. The job becomes non-negotiable. The pressure becomes constant. The margin for error vanishes. Sigma males see that and immediately reject it. That's not ambition, that's financial entrapment dressed up in Gucci. Instead, they strip away the excess. Not because they're minimalist for aesthetic reasons, but because simplicity is a tactical advantage. Fewer expenses, fewer liabilities, fewer things tying them down if life flips the script, if the market crashes, if the job disappears, if the system melts. They're not the ones begging for bailout. They've got breathing room while everyone else is choking on their lifestyle choices. They're not scared of instability because they prepared for it. They don't need to cling to a paycheck out of fear. They keep their life flexible so when change comes, and it always does, they can move, adapt, or walk. No panic, no drama. That's the power of refusing to overextend yourself for status. And here's what makes it dangerous. That level of mobility gives them leverage most people will never have. They can take risks, start over, or vanish from the grid without their world collapsing. That's why their simplicity isn't weakness, it's a weapon. While others are rooted in obligation, Sigmas are floating on options, ready to cut ties, pivot directions, and still land on their feet. Because they designed it that way. They're not trying to impress the world. They're trying to stay dangerous in it. And that only happens when your life is light enough to move and strong enough to stand on its own. Number 6, they know people buy things to escape themselves. Most people don't buy luxury for the sake of quality. They buy it to numb something inside. It's not about the leather, the craftsmanship, or the treat yourself narrative. It's about the ache they don't want to face, the emptiness they refuse to name, that Gucci belt, that overpriced gadget, that luxury vacation they can't afford. It's not just spending, it's emotional sedation, a shiny distraction from a deeper void. Sigma males see this pattern clearly, and they want no part of it. They know exactly what's happening when someone drops thousands on things they didn't need 5 minutes ago. It's not ambition. It's not self-love, it's avoidance. It's a desperate attempt to escape from the discomfort of facing themselves, their loneliness, their regret, their lack of purpose. Sigmas don't use money to run from those feelings. They sit with them. They study them. They let the discomfort teach them something real. That's why you'll rarely see a Sigma male drowning in impulsive purchases. It's not because they're tight-fisted, it's because they're grounded. They're not afraid of silence. They don't need to slap a brand name on their chest to feel like somebody. Their identity isn't built from receipts and return policies. It's built from introspection and self-mastery. They don't buy things to feel whole. They become whole first, then buy only what aligns with that wholeness. This doesn't mean they avoid luxury altogether. If something genuinely adds value to their life, they'll get it. No hesitation. But they'll never buy something just to distract themselves from inner chaos. That's not how they move. They've done the work. They've faced their demons without hiding behind retail therapy. So while others are out spending recklessly to feel something, Sigmas are quietly investing in what actually matters. Freedom, clarity, peace of mind. Spiritual poverty isn't fixed by material wealth, and Sigma males refuse to dress up emotional wounds with overpriced accessories. They'd rather confront the void and conquer it than camouflage it with status symbols. That's not just discipline, that's self-respect. And no luxury store on earth sells that. Number 7, they're long-term predators, not short-term prey. Sigma males don't play the short game. They're not here to blow their paycheck just to feel good for 5 minutes or impress people who won't matter in 5 years. They think in decades. They move like long-term predators, calculated, observant, and waiting for the right moment to strike. While everyone else is busy chasing instant gratification, they're laying the foundation for total independence, slowly, quietly, ruthlessly. They know every shiny purchase made out of boredom or insecurity is another chain around the neck. Every swipe of the card for something they don't need is another step deeper into the trap. Most people spend to feel like they're winning, but Sigmas spend with the awareness that one careless decision can cost them years of freedom. They're not allergic to spending, they're allergic to regret. Debt to them is a leash. Not just financial, but psychological. It owns you. It dictates your moves. It keeps you grinding, not for growth, but for survival. Sigma males would rather delay gratification than hand over their freedom for something that depreciates the second it leaves the store. They don't need to feel rich today. They're building for dominance tomorrow. Comfort is another illusion they don't fall for. Comfort tricks people into thinking they've made it when really they've just been sedated. Sigmas don't want to be comfortable. They want to be capable. They want to be sharp, mobile, unshakable. Comfort makes most people lazy. It makes them cling to easy routines and avoid risk. Sigma males lean into discomfort because that's where the edge lives. That's where growth lives. They don't need immediate rewards because they're not desperate for stimulation. They're building things that take time, that demand discipline, because they know that real power isn't built overnight. It's accumulated through consistent, unsexy decisions that the average person avoids. That's why you'll never catch a Sigma falling into lifestyle traps designed to keep people broke and chasing crumbs. He doesn't need the dopamine hit of now. He's too busy strategizing how to own later. Let the rest of the world be prey to distraction. Sigma males are playing a deeper game, and by the time the rest of the world figures that out, it's already checkmate. Number 8. They refuse to impress people they secretly pity. Sigma males have no interest in impressing people they don't admire, and the brutal truth is they actually pity most of the people flaunting wealth. The ones obsessed with attention, image, and constant validation look like walking caution signs to them. They see through the smoke and mirrors, the desperate flexing, the insecurity behind the overcompensation, and instead of feeling envy, they feel second-hand embarrassment. That's why they don't buy into the whole status game. It's fake, fragile, and full of people pretending to like each other while secretly competing for who can burn through their money faster. Sigmas don't respect that. They see the emotional bankruptcy behind the financial bravado. They know that if someone constantly needs to show they've made it, it's probably because they haven't convinced themselves yet. So no, they're not going to join that game just to fit in. Why would they? Fit into what? A table full of over-leveraged egos and leased identities. That's not prestige. That's insecurity with a side of champagne. Sigmas don't want to be invited to that table. They're busy building their own bunker, a life so self-sustaining, so untouchable that approval becomes irrelevant. They don't post purchases for likes. They don't wear brands to gain clout. And they definitely don't alter their spending habits just to match someone else's definition of success. They know who they are, and more importantly, they know who not to try to impress. When the room is full of people clinging to luxury as a personality, Sigmas stay quiet. Not because they're shy, but because there's nothing to say when you're not seeking applause. The truth is, trying to impress people you don't respect is one of the most expensive addictions out there. Sigma males never got hooked. They operate on their own values, not society's scoreboard. So while others are networking, flexing, and spiraling under the weight of perception, Sigmas are somewhere out of sight, living smart, staying dangerous, and watching the circus with zero intention of joining it. Number 9, they treat frugality like a flex. Not because they're cheap. To the average person, frugality looks like being cheap or deprived, like someone who's missing out on the good life. But to a Sigma male, frugality is power in its rawest form. It's not about fear or lack. It's a calculated rejection of the consumer trap. While the world's busy trying to outspend each other for applause, Sigmas are quietly sharpening their edge by spending less and doing it with intention. They treat frugality like a flex, not because it's trendy, but because it's the ultimate proof of self-discipline. In a society addicted to instant gratification and image maintenance, being able to not spend money when you have it is practically a superpower. It means you're not ruled by impulse. You're not owned by trends. You're not trapped by the need to constantly showcase your worth. Sigma males don't live to perform. They live to dominate. And sometimes domination looks like keeping your wallet closed when everyone else is bleeding cash for temporary dopamine hits. Every dollar they don't spend isn't just saved, it's weaponized. It's strategic ammo for a bigger play, a better exit, a move no one saw coming. That restraint isn't just financial, it's psychological warfare. While others are drowning in debt disguised as luxury, Sigmas are building options, stacking leverage, and tightening their grip on freedom. And let's be honest, in today's world, saying no to consumerism is an act of rebellion. Every ad, influencer, and algorithm is begging you to feel inadequate so you'll buy your way to a better self. Sigmas see through it. They don't let the system dictate their desires. When they walk past temptation, it's not from lack, it's from clarity. They know the difference between a want and a trap. So while frugality might look boring to outsiders, to the Sigma it's a statement. A subtle flex that whispers, I'm not playing your game, I'm building something bigger. It's not about looking rich, it's about never needing to look rich. And that's a kind of wealth most people can't even fathom. Number 10, they know society is one collapse away from humbling you. Sigma males don't fall for the illusion of permanence. They've seen how fast the world can flip. One market crash, one unexpected diagnosis, one global event, and suddenly the people who were posting yacht photos are begging for help or drowning in debt. That kind of collapse doesn't surprise a Sigma. It validates the way they live. While others build their lifestyles on borrowed confidence and high-risk habits, Sigmas treat comfort like a ticking time bomb. They carry a subtle kind of paranoia, not fear, but awareness. The world's not as stable as it pretends to be, and Sigma males never let that truth out of their sight. That's why they don't overextend themselves trying to keep up with trends or appearances. They don't want to be caught off guard if everything goes sideways. They prepare like the storm is already on the radar, because in their mind it always is. This mindset keeps them sharp. They live below their means, not because they're pessimists, but because they don't want to be the guy scrambling when the lights go out. They'd rather be the one with backup generators, a stocked pantry, and zero financial panic. They insulate themselves from chaos by staying lean, adaptable, and strategically detached from fragile systems. Sigma males know that wealth built on ego collapses the fastest. The guy who needs 5-figure months to stay afloat isn't rich. He's on a high-income leash. The moment that income drops, everything else crumbles. Sigma males avoid that fate by designing a life that doesn't rely on best-case scenarios. If anything, they expect worst case, and they plan accordingly. And it's not just about finances, it's about mindset. Sigma males don't walk through life assuming things will go right. They assume things will go real, and when they do, they want to be the ones who don't flinch. While others are living in a fantasy, Sigmas are quietly reinforcing their foundation, mentally, financially, emotionally. They're not paranoid, they're prepared. And when the system humbles the loudest voices in the room, Sigma males will be the ones standing, calm, unshaken, and ready. Because they never bought into the illusion in the first place. Number 11, they view debt as psychological handcuffs. To a Sigma male, debt isn't just numbers on a statement, it's psychological warfare. Every loan, every installment, every interest rate is a quiet handcuff tightening around the mind. While most people shrug off debt as just part of life, Sigmas see it as an invisible prison that quietly steals their freedom, energy, and peace of mind. And no matter how sleek the purchase, no matter how shiny the luxury item, if it comes with change, they are not interested. They don't care if that car gets stairs. If it requires 72 payments and a silent prayer every month to afford it, it's not a flex. It's a trap. Sigma males would rather roll up in a decade-old vehicle that's fully paid off than drive something that owns them. They're not interested in impressing people from the driver's seat of their financial anxiety. They know that looking rich while being leveraged to the teeth is just modern-day slavery with leather seats. Sigmas understand that debt isn't just about money. It controls your time. It dictates your decisions. It makes you say yes when you want to say no. It forces you to stay in jobs you hate, around people you can't stand, doing things that drain you, just to keep up with the bills that came from trying to look successful. That's not freedom. That's financial house arrest. And Sigma males have zero tolerance for it. They're not afraid of being underestimated. In fact, they love it. Let people laugh at their simple clothes or modest lifestyle. Let them think the Sigma is broke. While they're drowning in payments and trying to flex for strangers, the Sigma is stacking cash, peace, and options. He knows that true power isn't found in what you wear or drive. It's in the ability to walk away from anything at any time without begging or explaining. That's why debt repulses him, because once you owe, you're owned. And the Sigma male didn't come into this world to be owned by anyone or anything, especially not for the sake of a temporary image. Freedom isn't a trend to him, it's the ultimate drip, and it can't be financed. Number 12, they don't want to be the richest guy in the room. They want to be the guy no one saw coming. Sigma males don't chase the spotlight. They don't care about being the loudest, richest, or most liked guy in the room. In fact, if too many people are looking at them, they start to disappear intentionally. Because attention is noisy, and noise attracts ego, envy, and unnecessary heat. Sigmas would much rather blend in, let people assume they're average, maybe even broke, and then quietly outmaneuver everyone when it matters most. They don't live above their means because flashy living defeats their whole strategy. Why broadcast your position when you can move undetected? Why flaunt your resources when you can build them in silence? To a Sigma, being underestimated is a weapon. It lowers other people's defenses, it keeps expectations low, and it gives them the element of surprise, which is deadly in a world obsessed with constant flexing. While others are busy competing over who's the richest in the room, the Sigma is scanning the exits, mapping the power dynamics, and planning his next move. You'll miss him if you blink. That's the point. He's not trying to be seen winning. He's trying to win without being seen. No applause, no parade, just silent execution behind the scenes. They know the richest guy in the room is often the most overexposed, the most targeted, and the most trapped. He's got an image to maintain, a lifestyle to defend, and a room full of people secretly trying to outdo him. The Sigma, he's not even in that race. He's the ghost in the corner who owns more than anyone realizes, but says the least. The guy who doesn't need to flex because the people who matter already feel his presence. There's nothing weak about staying below the radar. It's surgical. Sigmas are playing a longer game. One where the loudest voice usually gets played and the quietest mind builds empires in the shadows. Living below their means isn't just smart. It's part of staying untraceable. Because when it's time to make a move, the Sigma isn't asking for attention, he is the plot twist. And there you have it, the unapologetic truth behind why Sigma males refuse to live above their means. It's not about deprivation, it's not about being stingy, it's about playing a completely different game. One that most people don't even realize exists. While the world obsesses over status symbols, loud spending, and attention-grabbing lifestyles, Sigma males are playing for something far rarer, unshakable freedom. They don't just avoid financial traps. They study them, dismantle them, and build entire lives that move around them. They've seen what happens to people who live for applause, who confuse being noticed with being powerful. They've watched the so-called wealthy collapse under the weight of their own image, drowning in debt and performative pressure. And they've said with total clarity, not me. Sigmas choose control over clout. They trade luxury for leverage. They reject lifestyle inflation like it's poison because they know what's at stake. Autonomy, peace of mind, and long-term dominance. Every decision they make is intentional. Every dollar they don't spend is a calculated act of rebellion against a culture obsessed with pretending. They're not here to impress the crowd. They're here to outlast it. They don't want to be the loudest in the room. They want to be the last one standing when the smoke clears and the system collapses. And while others are scrambling to keep up with a life they can't afford, Sigma males are moving in silence, stacking assets, refining skills, and staying light enough to move, pivot, and vanish if they need to. This isn't about frugality, this is about freedom. And for the Sigma male, that freedom isn't just the goal, it's the baseline. So the next time someone laughs at their simplicity, underestimates their lifestyle, or mistakes their quiet for lack, let them. Because when the crash comes, when the game changes, and when comfort turns to chaos, the Sigma male won't be scrambling. He'll be ready because he always was. If this video sparked something real in you, if you're done with the noise, the flexing, and the financial fakery, then don't just watch in silence. Hit that like to show you're wired differently. Drop a comment and let us know which point hit hardest. And most importantly, subscribe to the channel because around here we don't do surface level fluff. We go deep, we stay sharp, and we keep it brutally honest. And if you've got a fellow lone wolf or quiet strategist in your life who needs to hear this, share this video with them, wake them up, pull them out of the trap. This isn't just content. It's ammunition for those who choose freedom over followers, discipline over debt, and strategy over showmanship. Stay dangerous, stay silent, stay Sigma, island.